Hey y'all, I'm Jerica Brochet and welcome to Breakup Balm 30 Minutes to Pivot. I am a professional betrayal trauma coach and I help women to navigate the aftermath of infidelity and betrayal. And I'm here to give you a much needed dose of Breakup Balm. So, in today's 30 Minute to Pivot, we're going to cover one of the many things I wish I knew immediately following the discovery of a partner's infidelity and betrayal. So let's get into this thing. As a coach, I would say like one of the biggest benefits of working with a coach is the fact that my clients get to bypass the majority of the trial and error when it comes to learning something new. It took me 7 years, y'all, to fully heal from getting cheated on in back to back relationships, y'all. 7 years, okay? But it's all of the work that I did during those 7 years that qualifies me to share my methods of healing with you. And so I love that for y'all. Like, I like that for my clients. You get to skip the line, you get a shortcut, to your healing journey, and you get to skip all of the crazy things that I had to process and mind like shift perspectives. Oh my gosh, I'm getting tongue tied. um so that's basically what Breakup Balm is. Breakup Balm is just that dose of comfort and support that I wish I had at the beginning of navigating getting over a really tough breakup. So let's get into it, y'all. One of the many things I wish I knew at the beginning of my healing journey is just that the healing is a journey and not a destination. Like, it's not for the faint of heart, and it's most certainly not a sprint, okay? It's a damn marathon that you are training for. It's a lot of work. And I know that that sounds very simple, like duh, but when you are in crisis and your world has just been torn apart, flipped upside down, you're not thinking as logically as you normally would. So I know it sounds simple to say, well, duh, we know that healing is a process and that it's not going to be an overnight success. But when you're actually navigating that road, we can be very hard on ourselves with believing that we need to be healing quicker than what we are. So let's get into that because I definitely want to dig deeper there. So, why is it that we tend to have this universal expectation that getting over a breakup should be quicker than what it is? Like, where did we conjure up that belief? I'll tell you. It's society, In a world where quick fixes are the norm, it's definitely no surprise that many of us harbor the belief that healing from infidelity isn't that big a deal, and so it shouldn't be that hard. And I think that this mindset often stems from a combination of social as well as personal factors. And when you're dealing with emotional and psychological traumas such as betrayal or infidelity, those types of traumas are not easily seen. It's a very subjective experience. And when you're talking about a betrayal that's as common as cheating or infidelity, people tend to downplay it because it's so common. And because the trauma is emotional and psychological, it's not like you have any evidence or wounds that you can literally show them so that they can see how much pain you're in and how hard it's been for you, unlike a physical trauma would be, right? So, yeah, I mentioned that there were societal pressures as well as personal things that sort of contribute to why we are so hard on ourselves with thinking that we're not healing quick enough. So, first is societal pressure, right? We live in a culture that promotes the idea of rapid recovery, like from any setback. If you having kids, your body needs to bounce back quickly. We love a traumatic like transformation story. We see it in our movies, we see it in our books, right? And especially if you live here in the US like I do, we literally have like 6 to 8 weeks to heal after giving birth to a whole human, whereas there's other countries that give well up to 2 years for parental leave, for the mother and for the father, you know? But there's this common narrative of resilience and bouncing back, that has been like pushed to the forefront, and we like to see these stories of overcoming things, which is great. It's great that these hurdles are overcame, but the problem is that because in a movie or in a book or in a show, it happens so quickly, subconsciously, we are internalizing that. And we're thinking that we too are supposed to heal that quickly, or we're supposed to have this overnight success in our healing journey. And that really sets the stage for unrealistic expectations on our journey. Um, it's like when you see those before and after photos, like in a weight loss infomercial or commercial or an ad, they don't show the struggles. They don't show the setbacks or the time that it truly takes to lose the weight. They don't show the tough nights, the breakdowns, and all of that. We often see on TV and social media, we always see the highlight reels of a person's experience. So, looking at it like that, we understand that healing from betrayal and infidelity isn't a before and after transformation. It's a before, during, and long after sort of a process, right? Another factor is personal impatience and discomfort with pain. So, what I mean by that is sitting with harmful emotions isn't anyone's cup of tea or anybody's idea of a good time. We typically don't like to do it. We avoid it like the plague, right? It's like having that splinter in your finger. You just want that sucker out and you want it out now. You're not really thinking about all of what it'll take to get it out. And so, to alleviate that pain, we often seek the least path of resistance, right? Or the quickest fix. And the emotional turmoil following infidelity is definitely no exception to that. So even though our heart is broken and we're afraid about what's next and what the future holds, we have things to do, right? If we're parents, we still have to be a mom. If we are working, we still have a job that we have to show up to. Like all of the other things that go on in our lives after being cheated on and betrayed, like those things still require attention. And so sometimes um, giving yourself the space and the time to process your emotions and to heal and really deal with the pain just seems like it's not a priority. And again, that goes back to a lot of the societal pressure that we are used to. So for many of us, the idea of lengthy healing can feel very exhausting. It can feel very daunting. It feels like it's a lot of work. And so it's just not appealing, to think that there's all this work you have to do, especially when you feel like you didn't deserve it. Like, I didn't even ask for this, but I'm 100% responsible for fixing it, and that sucks. Like, it really sucks. So there's this natural inclination to rush through it. Like, let me just do what I need to do in hopes of escaping the pain and just moving on with little to no effort, right? Then there's the comparison trap. Maybe you have a friend who seemed to get over a breakup in no time, or you wonder why, okay, they were able to move on and get through it. Why am I having such a hard time? Or why is it so hard for me to get through it? But what we often forget is that healing is as personal and unique as a fingerprint, y'all. Everyone's emotional and energetic makeup, the circumstances of their betrayal and infidelity story, the length of their relationship, the depths of the relationship, like all of these variables make every person's healing journey very unique. Okay, so comparing your healing process to someone else's is like comparing apples and oranges. It's a subjective experience. You cannot compare because you don't know all of the details. You don't know all of what they went through. You don't know what their emotional and energetic makeup is like. So you don't know how emotionally mature or immature they are. Like, you don't know enough information about another person's experience to be comparing it to yours. Okay. So it's just something that's very unfair for you to do to yourself. and it just doesn't work. So I just don't recommend y'all doing that. Okay. Number four, and last, I would say that there is a lack of understanding about what healing truly entails. Okay. Healing isn't just about getting over the pain or moving past the betrayal. It's about understanding the impact that betrayal and that infidelity had on you. It's about rebuilding your sense of self, because trauma disconnects you from that. It disconnects you from you. And it's even about redefining what relationships mean to you. Um, Y'all will learn I love the etymology of words, and it truly does help me to understand what I'm saying when I'm using certain words and how I articulate my feelings and my thoughts. So healing, y'all, comes from the Greek term holos, which means wholeness. So when we're talking about a healing journey, we're talking about a journey back to wholeness. And what is that wholeness? That wholeness is your original blueprint, the original you, the you that you were before childhood traumas, and before you had these negative traumatic ass experiences in your life that caused you to be a watered down version of yourself, a hurt version of yourself, a version of yourself that now has disorganized attachment styles or avoidant attachment styles, right? Like, so when we're talking about healing, when I am talking about healing, y'all, I'm talking about that journey that gets you back to the original you that traumas totally have the power to disconnect you from. It is a shattering experience when you go through something as traumatic as betrayal, okay? It's a deep process, and it's a slow process, y'all. And when we're talking about healing should be full of introspection and growth, going back to it being a process and not just a destination. Okay, so it's not about the end result, it's about the progress that you've made on the way to that end result, right? So expecting healing to be quick is like expecting a deep wound to heal without forming a scar first, and a lot of us are out here putting band-aids on things that need surgery. Not only is that unrealistic, it overlooks the strength and the beauty that can come from the process, from the scars that we then wear as badges of honor, to not only serve as a reminder of how strong we are, but to also remind us that we survived and we were able to get through it. Okay. So there's no straight path to healing, y'all. In real life, it's much more complex than that. And one way that I like to paint the picture or set the expectation for what true healing looks like is to consider the changing of the four seasons. So, for the majority of us, we have distinct experiences with each of the four seasons, right? Spring, summer, fall, and winter. And I believe that the healing journey beautifully mirrors the unpredictable and cyclical nature of the four seasons. So, just as we move from spring to winter, our healing journey will oscillate between periods of growth and renewal to times of stillness and reflection or introspection. This understanding, grappling our minds around having periods of growth and renewal as well as periods of stillness, can be a difficult process to grasp. It can be a difficult thing to wrap our minds around, because again, if you have worked in hustle culture, or touching back on that societal pressure stuff, the Western work week model is like, it's the hamster's wheel, right? Over here in the West, working is like being on call 24/7, right? We're so used to producing and performing optimally at that all year round that we find ourselves very ignorant to recognizing when we need moments of rest, when we need moments of recuperation, and when we need moments of stillness. We're used to outputting all year, every year. And we've been conditioned to do that. We've been conditioned to operate that way. So then when it comes to healing, of course, we would have those same work ethics and expectations that we should be putting out. We should be seeing results right away, very quickly, right? This is why we're under the impression that our healing journey and our healing experiences should be these very quick, rapid turnarounds, right? But the seasons remind us that there is a time for everything, and everything has a season. Some of you, if you've seen other videos on my page, on my YouTube page, that is, that I grew up religious. I grew up with a Christian background. And so when I think about there being a time for everything, I always think about the book of Ecclesiastics in the Bible that talks about there being a time for everything. Comment down below if you can resonate with that. If you grew up in religion, if you can resonate with that. But yeah, like the seasons remind us that everything has its season, and when those seasons come to an end, like, it's okay. Spring can represent the budding of hope and renewal and new beginnings after the traumatic experiences that you've had. Summer reflects those periods of warmth and progress. So with summer, there's momentum. Come fall, it's the shedding of the leaves, right? So there's this symbolism of letting go of the burdens and the pain that you've been through. And then you have winter, which can be like a standstill. It's very quiet. And that's the time where you hibernate, right? You go within, and you're not being like a hamster on a wheel. You're not producing. When we get into the fall and winter seasons of the year, it's a time of slowing down, right? Of reflection and internalizing, so that when spring comes again and summer, we're active and we're outputting and we're reaping all the benefits from all of the work that we put in, right? So, yeah, understanding and accepting that natural flow and process of healing is non-linear, y'all. And understanding that healing is non-linear, and we understand that everything has a season. How validating is that? How validating is it that you're not supposed to be doing all year round? There are some times of the year, some parts of the month, even some parts of the week, of the day, we can really break it down from macrocosm to microcosm, right? Where we deserve to slow down, we deserve rest. Okay, so know that if you are not seeing results throughout your healing journey, it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong or that you're messing up on some level. It means that there will be seasons to your journey, seasons that feel more productive, and you do feel like you're seeing a lot of growth and change. And then you'll have those seasons of struggle where it just seems like I took 3 steps forward and got knocked back 4, because there may be lessons that we still need to learn, things that we still need to process. Does that make sense? So I want this to be liberating for y'all and take off some of that pressure that you're putting on yourself to just get over the infidelity, get over the manipulation and the gaslighting and the betrayal. Like, no, no. I want this to serve as a reminder for y'all that every step on your journey, no matter how small or how uncertain, it's a part of moving towards a brighter and better future for you, so that you can truly heal the trauma, get back to a place of wholeness. Okay, because when we think that we can skip this process is when we turn around and we manifest the same type of situations over and over again in a new relationship with a new partner. Okay, so it's the same story, different cast. So if you really want to be able to generate and manifest a good, positive experience for yourself in future relationships, you gotta deal with the wounds, y'all. Okay, so when we're talking about a healing journey, you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you're starting. Okay, it's like, have you ever been on the phone trying to give somebody directions? What's the first thing you do? You ask them where they're at. where are you, what's around you, what street are you on, where you're at, right? Because you can't help them to get from point A to point B if you don't know where point A is. That's what healing is like. We got to figure out where you are. We got to figure out what's going on and assess the issue so that we can actually create a plan to get you to point B. Does that make sense? So I want y'all to please show yourself some grace and show yourself some compassion and patience throughout your journey. Okay. So I want to share with y'all my own nonlinear roadmap to recovery that my clients reference while navigating their healing journeys. And I call it the 5 phases of healing. And the purpose of it is to sort of serve as a guide, as a way to navigate those complexities of healing with greater understanding and with intention. Okay. And the phases themselves sort of serve as these signposts that mark pivotal moments throughout our journey. So let's quickly go over each phase. So, phase one is recognition. This phase centers around acknowledgement and being the first step towards healing. Okay. It's about acknowledging your pain and realizing the existence of the trauma that you've been through, putting a name to your experience. You weren't just cheated on, you were betrayed. Okay. So that's phase one. Phase two is about processing. Okay. And this phase teaches that understanding is the bridge that leads to acceptance. It's about dissecting the betrayal and understanding why it's hurting you and what it means for your life and for your future relationships. Now, phase three is acceptance. And in this phase, it's really where you, because of the work you've done in phase two, the processing which leads to acceptance, you're coming to terms with the betrayal, right? You're letting go of any lingering hopes that things could have worked out differently. Okay. This is where you're no longer trying to figure out could it have worked out? What did I do wrong? Like when we get to the acceptance phase, it's about focusing your energy on the future and not the past because you've accepted that, hey, this is where I am now. Now, what do I do? Okay. So then that brings us to phase four, which is integration. And this phase is about reshaping your identity and rediscovering yourself after betrayal, right? Because remember, healing is a journey back to wholeness, it's a journey back to the original you. So with integration, you're reshaping who you are. You're getting rid of all of the personas that you've been wearing and that you had to create for yourself to get through the tough times. You're rediscovering the old you, a healed you, because this one chapter of your story doesn't define the whole book, y'all. All right. So this phase involves internalizing all of the lessons that you've learned and the growth from this experience that you've had. So then last we have phase five, which is renewal. And this phase is about rising like a phoenix from the ashes, right? It's about rebirth and renewal, getting back out there as a woman who now knows her worth, as a newly empowered woman who knows that she deserves better. She loves herself and she's ready to write a new chapter in her story. Does that make sense? All right, y'all, trying to keep it under 30 minutes here. So let's wrap this up with a quick recap. So during our time together, I've shared with you things that I wish I knew at the start of my healing journey while healing from trauma and betrayal and infidelity to being renewed and beloved and back to myself. And so we learned that healing from heartbreak, especially one tainted by infidelity, is no cakewalk. Okay. We understand that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Okay. It's like a road trip, but without Google Maps. Okay. You got to find your way through this thing intuitively. Okay. And you're going to take some twists and turns and wrong turns, but nevertheless, you can make it through, y'all. We learned that heartbreak from infidelity and betrayal is unlike any other breakup, right? Because of that betrayal aspect to it. It's one thing when you break up and it's amicable. It's another thing when you've been cheated on or gaslit or manipulated, right? And so to help with that, I broke down for y'all my 5 phases of healing method, right? Recognition, processing, acceptance, integration, and renewal. Okay. And going back to what I wish I knew at the start of my healing journey was the fact that, yes, healing is a journey and not a destination. And it's okay for that journey to take time. We also learned that each phase has its season. Each part of your healing journey will have its season, right? And we learned that there are 4 reasons that people tend to think that they aren't healing quick enough: the societal pressures, the personal impatience and discomfort with pain, the comparison stories, and not having a true understanding of the concept of healing. So, all right, y'all, that concludes today's dose of Breakup Balm, 30 minutes to pivot. I hope that this was very comforting for you. I hope that you feel supported. I hope you feel validated and seen for what you're going through. If you or someone that you know is struggling with moving on after infidelity, navigating the aftermath of betrayal, or they're having a tough time getting over a tough breakup, please share this video with them. I definitely plan to do so much more of these. If you like them, definitely comment down in the comment section. If you would like to work with me, there are plenty of ways that we can do that. I offer PDF guides and mini courses, as well as at your own pace full courses. But if you're looking to work with me more directly, I definitely highly recommend my 8-week coaching program. I'll drop some links below with the information on how you can access that, as well as all of my other offers and content. Please like, share, and subscribe, y'all, and be sure to follow me on the socials. I'm mainly active on Instagram, more so than my Facebook. So if you really want to see me on the daily and much more free content and advice about healing from infidelity, betrayal, and all the things, then definitely follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Miss Jerry B. So I'm gonna leave it right there, y'all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.